And now I'll pass it back to Alexa, and we're going to talk about budgeting for the rest of the first half of this workshop.
Okay, guys, so great job on the Kahoot. So now we're gonna actually just jump into things that you probably didn't know about budgeting and all about financial literacy. So for budgeting, this is the best plan, especially in college, and the best tool to learn and know how to do it. So this is how you can track where and how much you're spending. You can keep track by writing or recording it. There are budgeting apps out there like Mint and a bunch of other ones that we could talk about. So this is a budget plan for you. So this way you can avoid debt, know how much to put into savings, and helps you manage unexpected expenses, especially in college. These are ways like creating a budget plan can make it easier to save, spend, and control your money. A budget is something that you want to update. I suggest always like come back and like reflect your budget like sheet at the end of each month. So always come back to your budget plan, making sure that's actually working for you, adjusting it, changing it up at the end of each month. This is really important to do in college because you can easily spend more than you are saving if you're not paying attention to how much you're spending. And then you get the awkward phone call from your parents telling them, oh yeah, I need more money again. Knowing like, how do you need more money? You already had more, I already gave you more money. So just make sure you're watching that and watching your money. So let me go to the next slide. That's just like a brief introduction to budgeting. Oh. Yeah, okay, so here are the steps to creating a budget plan, and I'm actually gonna show you guys a budget plan as well. But calculate your net income. So this would be money you get on a regular basis. So like a check from a job or an allowance from your parents or someone like who gives you money like each month or week. You can also next record your expenses. And this is money you pay, so all of your costs. So that would be like bills, groceries, gas. And there are two types that we talked about or that we introduced in the Kahoot, fixed and variable expenses. So the fixed are costs that do not change much. So basically are the same month to month. And that would be something like rent. And then variable costs are like extra expenses that vary. So when you record this, these are expenses that you actually want to watch in college because this could range from entertainment to clothing, transportation. And me personally, transportation was huge because I didn't have a car on campus. So I got Lyfts and Ubers a lot, and that was just always changing. So that was like my biggest variable expense. Or eating out, which is also huge in college. You have meal points on campus, but most of the time you're going to be going out with your friends a lot. So you have that freedom too. So it's always easy to watch out, or it's not easy to watch out for those variable costs. And then finally, analyze your information. So if your expenses, like if you look at your budget plan, and if your expenses are greater than your income, like how much you're like getting in, think honestly, like realistically, like where can you cut back on expenses? Like be truthful to yourself, because you know like where you're spending a lot of money. And then where can you like increase your income? How can you do that? And then like should you change your savings? Like maybe you should put more into savings, less into savings, and really like target a good like savings goal. Something like I do, I get a check every month, so I'll probably take out like $30 of that out of my check and I'll put it into savings every month. Not much, but I know I will need most of my check because that's my only source of income. So yeah. Next. Okay, money smart in college. These are just easy tips. So save more and spend less. Limit excessive spending. This one's huge. The next one be meet scholarship and financial deadlines. And meeting these, like we'll talk about more about this topic, but college can be very expensive. So doing that extra research to find some financial support is very important. And you can also schedule an appointment with us if you don't know like where to start with that. Next, investing in yourself. Savings and building that habit of saving is a way to invest in yourself. Again, budgeting allows you to see like how much you can put into savings per month or every 2 weeks. So yeah, then start building your credit in college. So like you don't have to have a credit card to start building your credit. but you can also be an authorized user with your parents or look into secured loans, things like that. But this is a very important score in life called a credit score. And a good credit score ranges from, like we saw in the Kahoot, 700 to 800, just like, or better. So yeah, credit is something you want to start thinking about because this could also prove your character and responsibility in life, your financial responsibility. A credit score basically shows like how good you are with your money. And so, do you pay your bills on time? Are you spending way more than you can pay back? And when you have a credit card, it is also like a lot of responsibility. And my best advice is like when you get a credit card, don't like save all that money onto your credit card. You want to spend it because that's the only way you're going to build the credit. But you also don't want to overspend the limit because you also have to pay that back in the future. So I suggest like spending like 50% of your credit limit. And the better like your credit is, the easier it is for a lender or a landlord or an employer to trust you. And like I mentioned before, like my mom, she didn't know that much about credit and she basically overspent her limit and we really couldn't like get a house. We couldn't get a new car. It was really hard to look for jobs. So knowing how to manage your credit limit is really important. And those are just all the tips I wanted to talk about. Let me know if you have any questions.
And also, I'll add in Gilbert, our boss, always tells us that your credit score is basically your financial resume. And so, just as though when you go to apply to a job, you submit your resume, your credit score is basically your resume in the financial world. So, anything related to it, like Alexa talked about, getting a car, getting a house, apartment, job, all of that is going to be connected to your credit score. Yeah. Alexa, do you want to take this or do you want?
The best way is probably to do things that will help your credit. So start probably paying the bills on time or the rent on time or anything else like on time, or even if you pay it early, that can also increase your credit score by a lot. So paying things really, really early is probably the easiest way. That's the way my mom did it. Also just finding different sources of income and then make sure that goes like towards like your credit. Probably Gilbert can also like talk more about how to recover your credit score.
Yes. So if you're old enough to get what is called a secured credit card, which Hannah or Alexa could tell you about, then you can use that to build up your credit score. Or if there have been some sort of issues you have faced in the past, you can get a secured credit card, which is through a bank or financial institution. And they will basically hold money in an account for you. And then that amount that is held will become your credit line, which means that's how much you could spend on the credit card. But in order to push your credit score up, you will have to use that card each month. And I think someone else alluded to this earlier. It's activity that builds your credit score. It's not how much you purchase. It's a bottle of water you purchase or gasoline once a month, and doing that month after month after month, and then making sure you pay that off so that there's no balance left at the end of the month. That will push up your credit score. So that's one way to do it. And also someone else mentioned you could tag along with a parent or guardian, but that can get a little tricky because it can impact both credit scores. So before I go on, I'll pass it back to Hannah and Alexa.
I would just add one more opportunity that I personally have done this past year is, so there's the secured credit card, but there's also secured loans. And so sometimes banks are happy to do these, and they can be pretty low amounts, but basically they would take X number of dollars from your account and then you'd just be paying it back every month. So it's not really, you're not purchasing anything through a credit card, but it's just a loan and a way to build credit without having a credit card. So that's another potential option, similar to a secured credit card, but it's really just a secured loan. So no ability to purchase anything with it.
Oh yeah, there's a free online website, and I can just drop in the chat where you can check your credit score for free. If I can find it real fast. Or if Gilbert has on too. It's called like annualsummary-report.com.
And there's a couple different areas that you can run, or different types of scores, and you can run one free one on each of them. So highly recommend doing at least one to see where your credit score is at. Yeah, I can let Alexa and Gilbert elaborate if they have anything more to add, but I think the most important thing is like going to a bank that you already have a relationship with and seeing what options they lay out for whatever your financial situation is. Like I said, I know for me, they gave me the opportunity to do a secured loan as a way to build credit when I didn't have a card. And so your bank, who knows you best, will probably allow you to have the best option for where you're at.
Basically, you're going to be looking at your credit score and how you spend your money, and if you are doing it responsibly. And if you are, then obviously you're going to be granted or approved. And then if not, then you'll be denied. Okay, so credit card is basically money that you don't have like in your bank account, but your bank gave it to you. So you can use your credit card for probably bigger purchases like a car or college, and you could just pay it back later in full if you can. So yeah, a credit card is basically a limited amount of money that you wouldn't necessarily have like in your debit card. Your debit card is like straight from just your bank account.